Hello, friends. Uh, this is Dr. Komal Shah, Assistant Professor at Department of Communication and Journalism, Gujarat University. First of all, I'm thankful to UGC HRDC Gujarat University for giving me this opportunity to virtually deliver this interaction in short-term course on the topic soft skills required for creating an environment in online courses. Before we go ahead with today's session, we will first talk about the topics and the sections included in this lecture. The whole lecture is divided into four sections, wherein we will cover approaches to promote community environment in online courses in section 1, tricks and ways to convey your online teaching persona in section 2, students' expectations from online instructors will be covered in section 3, and some online teaching tips in section 4. First of all, I would like to talk about my experience. I have been involved with creation of online educational programs for the past 4 years with EMRC Ahmedabad and have been training academicians for the same through various types of workshops, and they have successfully developed and even taught their first online courses too. But the one and only concern I frequently hear from the instructors or the academicians is that the students who enroll for these e-learning courses lose the interaction and sense of community which they would have very well had with their students had they been teaching face to face. Now, first of all, we need to understand what is community. There are a variety of definitions for community. Most of them include words or some include phrases as well, such as having something in common is a community, feelings of being connected is a community, the shared goals and aspirations are a community, a regular interaction is a community. So, in this session, we will explore approaches through which an academician can promote community environment in online courses. First of all, I would like to pinpoint at the very first thing, which is the course instructor should act as a role model if he or she wants to promote this uh, idea of community. If the course instructor wants to promote this community in his or her online courses, one way to encourage this is modeling the behavior they would like to see in their students. With this, I mean that you can start with a warm and enthusiastic welcome message before your course begins. It can include responding to students' questions promptly and respectfully, and it can include the instructor sharing a few of his personal information about themselves so that the students have a chance to go beyond seeing their instructor as a content expert who is just teaching in a classroom and can view the instructor as a real person they can get to know and they can relate to. The next point I feel is the students should get a chance to know the instructor as well as each other who are there in the course. One way the instructors can start to develop community early in an e-learning course is to use introduction or icebreaker sessions or activities. Having an introduction or icebreaker can set the tone for the students to engage and interact with each other and even encourage social interactions. We really need to move away from these mundane introduction sessions of asking students to share things like their name, uh, their years, the year in the college that they are studying, or the major subjects that they are having in their college. We should consider, jazzing up these interactions by having students share their previous experiences, or even you can probe about their lack of experiences with the course content that they had gone through in the past and what they are looking forward to while being in this present course. We can even ask for a bit of a personal information like their their singing idol, or their music idol, or their extracurricular activities which they are involved in, because I've used such type of icebreakers for the courses in the past where I would have students you know search out these misconceptions or mistruths about the content that would be covered in the class. And that was a better way to expose students to topics they would be delving in the upcoming months in the course. Next, I feel as an instructor, we need to create a safe course environment for the students. While creating an online course environment in which the students feel safe can have many benefits. It can help the students be more engaged with their peers and instructors. It can lead to students being more open with their beliefs and values, and it can provide a valuable lesson on how to be productive and respectful, how to have productive and respectful interactions with others who might hold certain opposing viewpoints. What I mean to say here is there will be people who will have opposite viewpoints for any matter which is there. So a safe environment, a safe course, online course environment doesn't mean that there won't be this type of disagreements or difference of opinions, but it does mean that the students will treat each other with respect. If something like this does arise, something like this disagreement situation does arise, most instructors set a rule, share a set of rules or expectations, which is known as the netiquettes, that governs the behavior, in the classroom, in the online classroom. And some instructors even have the students help create those expectations. In the latter case, let me tell you, it is really a great opportunity to create a very safe environment for the students, and they would really want to participate in such type of activities. Dealing with any disruptive behavior online, like an inappropriate comment from a student or something like that, is even a way that the instructor can help ensure a safe learning environment. So the instructor has to be very forthcoming when such type of behavior or such type of action is taken by any of the students. The next I feel is to get to know the students' interests through their through online surveys. Before a course starts or when the course is just in its preliminary stage. This we can, as a course instructors, can go ahead and run certain student interest surveys. Now, these can be used in the online courses to promote relationship building and community. The questions on these surveys can be anything like personal information, like the hobbies or activities that they enjoy, the students enjoy. It can be related to the school or college information, like Did they enjoy working in groups in school or college? Why or why not? It can also involve the future goals and aspirations that the students have as to where do they see themselves in the next 5 years. Questions could even be related to what students might want to see covered in a course, and this might lead the instructors in making certain changes in the curriculum. Asking this type of questions really uh, helps the students feel more engaged, and it gives them a sense of ownership in a course. The survey results could be used to place students in groups for collaborative work or projects. And when we know more about the student, like their type of music that they want to listen to, the academic challenges that they might have faced, this really helps the instructor to better interact and relate to each and every student who has joined the course. The next I feel is to create opportunities for students to share their knowledge and experiences during the course duration. I've had the pleasure of working in higher education for more than 5 years now, and I really believe this idea of building opportunities in our courses for students to share their past experiences is greatly underutilized. I realized how powerful this could be when I myself was enrolled for an e learning course in big data analysis about a year ago. In this course, all the participants were required to share their academic, their work experience, whatever that they have had till now. And what I found was, or my observation was, that all the participants who were there in that open discussion were excited and thrilled to share their individual experiences. And the discussion forum really was something that made the students feel as if they really had come for this. They were really looking out for this type of course. So we really need to understand the students who are joining this type of online courses even have uh, experiences, and they have a plethora of experiences, let me tell you. And these experiences are through their families, through the jobs that they have taken up in the past, through the professional work that they have done in the past, through their schooling or college activities that they have had in the past. Thus, one can utilize those past experiences for the benefit of everyone in the class. So, this is something which we as course instructors should not miss out on. The next I feel is about social interaction opportunities for students. We all know when being in an online course, it becomes very difficult to socially connect with each other. But now, in this technology driven world, it has become very, very easy. In addition to having an introduction or the icebreaker activity, which we had spoken about in point number two, building in opportunities, for e-learning students to interact socially can really help promote a sense of community in the class. One way that the instructors can do this is to have discussion forums which are dedicated to personal interactions. These forums are known by many other names or titles like the student lounge, the student cafe, or the water cooler, where students can interact and discuss many non course topics. The topics could range from anything. It can be like weather that they are discussing on, it can be like the big game of cricket, which was there a night before. It can be about the current local, national, international, or state level news which is there. It can be even about the global events which are happening world over. There are many instructors, online instructors, whom I've seen using social media groups such as Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn in their courses to encourage this type of social interactions among the students who have joined their courses. There are certain online programs which go as far as to add, the alumni of these programs to these groups. Now, this thing really helps. The current students who have enrolled themselves in this online course can interact with the past students who have already had taken up the course and have now moved ahead and are working in the field. So this type of interaction really helps the current lot of students to gain experience in terms of how the course has helped to the others in the past. And they are even able to meet uh, people from the same discipline that they are working in. The next I feel is to create multiple interaction and engagement opportunities for the students. If a course instructor wishes to develop a sense of community in an online course, they will be more than successful if if they create variety of opportunities for this type of interactions to occur. Now, the instructors can, work on student to student interactions in which they can have online discussion forums, peer review activities. They can even go for collaborative work or video conferencing. Also, these interactive opportunities could be spaced evenly throughout the course duration. Let's try and understand this with an example. Say, if a student is taking a 15-week online course and there's some interaction occurring every week or a couple of weeks, then it really helps the student to get this feeling of community. Instead of just having 1 or 2 weeks where the interactions do happen, it is best to have these interactions happening in a phased or uh, in the consecutive weeks which are there. So thus building an community environment in online courses really helps to get the course further or and to get the student interested throughout the course duration. In the next section, we'll be talking about how to convey our online teaching persona in an online course. As we all know that in an online course, we hardly get any opportunity to interact face to face. And in order to effectively establish and maintain an active learning community, the instructor needs to establish his or her teaching persona and not only establish but even to maintain it throughout the course. Because unlike in a face to face classroom, one's persona in the online classroom needs to be deliberately there into our course design. What I mean to say here is, while designing a course, it should reflect the persona that we have. So, our course design speaks about what type of course instructor we would be, or what type of a course instructor we are. As you all know, the rules are very different online. The teacher or the academician here has to make all sincere efforts to deliver or present the online teaching persona. And it may come or reflect in many different ways, from the way the teacher is responding to the entire class, or from the way the teacher is responding to a single student, from the way the teacher is writing. It may be even in the way the instructor, is expressing humor. The instructor might be expressing his humor by using emoticons or by simple words. This persona is also reflected in the videos that introduce each week or chapter of the course, the videos that we release for the weekly schedule of the course. In fact, one's online teaching persona is so closely linked to a course design that it is difficult, if at all possible, to establish one's persona in a course designed by somebody else. What I mean to say here is, if you're just an instructor, or if you're just reading out somebody else's or you're just reading out somebody else's script in the course, it is very difficult for you to get into the shoes of the actual person who has designed the course, because he or she, the instructor of the course, the designer of the course, is the only person who can add on the persona to the course. Adding your persona to a course developed by somebody else is a real big challenge. Why? Because no one teaches exactly like the other academician or like the other teacher. None of the teachers are the same. There are various tools which are recommended when one needs to project one's online persona in an online course. These tools can vary from having um using the introductory mails to start at the beginning of the course, using the Web 2.0 tools and technologies, which also helps in facilitating the persona. In this Web 2.0 tools, you can be using certain synchronous and asynchronous videos. Let me explain with an example. When we are experimenting with different approaches to the introductory video, there are many tools which we can use. We can use tools like discussions, we can use tools like email, we can use certain meeting applications, or we can even use audio in our PowerPoint presentations. Or for that matter, even still photographs also carry a strong message. If you're adding on a personal photograph to your course syllabus, it really creates an amazing package for your course. Like all the other aspects of online instructions, it's important to understand what works and what doesn't work in one's course, especially in terms of the instructional persona. What we are recommending, or what I'm recommending here, is not some radical changes that you need to make once your course is already running online. Because if you try to do that, then it will create more and more confusion and frustration in your students who have enrolled. But here, what I mean to say is it's important to be able to communicate with the students, whether you do it uh, with a chat box, with a survey instrument, through a video. You can use any of these tools. But what's important mainly here is to get at the heart of what's going on. The next part of our discussion is about what the students expect from the online instructors for an online course. For over the past 4 years, I have had the pleasure of meeting more than 100 online course designers and instructors at my institute. And they all have gone through the whole process of building up their course, designing their course, building up their course, running their course, their very first online courses. And I have been a witness to almost all of these courses. And they all were very excited by the opportunity that they received, that they got to, to develop an online course. But what I have also observed that there were many who were really hesitant or were really afraid of teaching online. Now, these instructors were hesitant and afraid and would ask that, what's the secret that you can tell me which can make my course very attractive or make me as an instructor very famous? And I had the sense that they were expecting a very extensive answer from me or a very complex answer from me. But on the contrary, many a times they were all surprised by my responses. Because I used to tell them that there certainly are a number of factors which can influence a student's experience when they are going online as a learner. The factors can be the institution that they are enrolled with, the discipline that they have chosen, the level of the course that they have chosen, the peers who are there on in the online course, how their home life is going to affect their online course, or the instructor of the course. The idea in this section is that uh, I have put up a few points, and these points have been developed from mainly three sources that I have gone through. First one is from my online teaching experience, my online observations as a researcher, the up-team number of discussions I've had with the course instructors who had come up at our institute as to what has worked with their course and what hasn't worked with their course, and some literature review as well. The first point that I would like to clarify here is that to have or these expectations from the students when they enter any online course is to get a clear course design and clear instructions to the navigation of the course. This is something very, very useful not only to the students but even to the instructors. Because you can very well imagine once a student who is entering this online course for the very first time, and is confused or doesn't know how to get started. How frustrating this can be for the student. And this confusion can very quickly lead to frustration, and we would end up with an unhappy learner. And I don't think so. This is a great way to start a class. The learner confusion always means that we would be getting more emails, more questions, and as instructors, we will be always on our tips to answer them. That's why there are many instructors who include welcome or get started messages in the news or the announcement area of their online courses, which includes their learning management systems like LMS, whatever that they're using. Because whenever that a student logs in, that is the first thing that the student sees. And this really helps them navigate through the whole course. The students can be directed to the syllabus where they can find additional information on the design and other navigational activities for the course. These navigations can be on a weekly basis, on unit wise basis, on chapter wise basis, on module basis. This really helps the students to develop a comfort level and helps decrease the confusion in them. The instructor can also create hyperlinks from the syllabus page, from the announcement page, or from the content area, so that the student doesn't need to click a number of times to access the course content, or to participate in the discussion forums, or to take quizzes. Thus, using this type of small tips and tricks really helps clear all the confusion in from the student's end and to also fulfill the expectations of the student. The next I think is we as instructors should very clearly chart out the expectations and the directions for all types of activities and assessments that we are assigning to the student in an online course. We should provide them explicit directions for the course activities and the assessments that we have incorporated in our online course, so that the student knows exactly, or very closely the student comes to know that what exactly is expected of them. And this reduces the learner's confusion. What happens is ultimately it results in a better course experience for both the student and the instructor. So instead of spending time and energy worrying whether the student or are is able to complete an assignment or not, or the student will be will no longer be worried about all these things. Why? Because the instructor has very clearly defined the way that he or she wants the assignment or the activity to be done. Thus, the student can focus more energy on the assignment itself and not be worried about the time and energy required to complete the task. To help accomplish all this, there are many instructors who nowadays are using the rubrics, which can help or guide the students to complete the assignments. The rubrics very clearly chart out the divisions of the whole assignment, which are very much expected from the students. The expectations and an instructor shares with students could also be related to the uh, online adequates, the academic integrity, the quality of participation which is required in an online discussion forum, and could also be like for the meeting the deadlines for the assignments. And also, research has proved that giving clear directions and expectations in online courses really improves learning uh, learning for this online students and also gets them more engaged with the instructor and the other classmates in the online classroom. Next, I would like to speak about how what happens when a student is confused, when a student has questions, and when a student poses questions through the online platforms that we have made available. Quick responses are the ones which really resolve this problem. This point may seem to many of us very, very basic. But what I would like to emphasize here is that out of all the observations and the type of student surveys that I have done, what I've come to know is this is a highly rated item on the students list. There are more students complaining about this than any other complaints. And the complaint can be something like this: I had contacted my instructor with a question 5 days ago and I haven't heard back yet. So, what would be your reaction when you hear such statements from your students? As we all like to receive timely responses when we ask a question. Whether we ask a question to our colleague, whether we ask a question to our supervisor, or in fact, whether we ask a question in the telephone company. So, students are no different. But here, let me clear the misconception that the students expect that the instructors are accessible 24 by 7. No. The instructor himself or herself can set very clearly that he or she is going to respond to every email within 24 hours in any of the weekdays. This most of the student, I'm sure, will respect, and they do respect. An online instructor doesn't need to be available 24 by 7 to be successful, and he should not be there 24 by 7. So, answering all the queries that the students have in a quick span of time really creates a difference. The next point, which I feel, is about regular communication by course instructors. One way these instructors can make their presence known to students is by regularly communicating with them. We as instructors can start off with this communication with an email a week, even before we are about to start the course. This really helps to introduce ourselves and give students information about the course. It could also include an introduction video or course orientation. Subsequently, we could even email regular course updates or announcements which can summarize how the other members in the class are performing in particular assignment or activity. Most students greatly appreciate, receiving this type of reminders about due dates of upcoming assignments. The students also like to know their instructor's perspective on the course content. This all can be shared in the form of written lectures. You can also use podcasts. We can also make use of voice over PowerPoints or videos. Online courses can be very, very text heavy, and this is not what the students do prefer. They also enjoy hearing and seeing their instructors online. And nowadays, the students are pretty net savvy and they very well realize how much pain the instructor must have gone through while publishing such content online. And they also want to express their point of views on such concepts and principles which have been covered in the class. The other ways the instructors can improve their presence in online courses is by providing very prompt and meaningful feedbacks to the participants who are there in the online discussion forums. And they can very well convey through these type of feedbacks as why presence is very important. We might also use the online surveys to get feedbacks from the students. And we have been doing it. Let me just share a few case studies with you. And what I've seen is I have seen comments which range from like the instructor might have got paid for teaching this course, but I as a student never felt like interacting with him. Or there were comments like I felt like I interacted more and got to know my professor better in this online course than in my face to face course. So there are both varieties of instructors available online. Now, we as a course developers need to decide which one we would want to be. At a minimum, what I feel is the instructors can set certain clear expectations and provide detailed directions for the activities and assignments for the course that they have created. They can include very well designed and easy to navigate courses, and they can respond to the students' questions in a very timely manner and make their presence known. If all these points are really covered, I really think so they will most likely experience success and satisfaction in their online teaching experiences. The last section here covers a few of the online teaching tips. At a time when e-courses are in fierce competition for students, because nowadays we have seen, and after this pandemic, we have seen how online courses are the most preferred mode of education. There are also accreditation agencies who are taking a very critical interest in this quality of online courses which are published. It is becoming increasingly important for us as course designers to ensure that we are exceeding all expectations from our students' end. Our students are expecting more from these online courses than they were when they used to attend physical classroom lectures. While most of us know the importance of addressing students by name in the discussion board and uh, offering students feedbacks, there are many more things that we can do when we are in an online course. The first tip that I would like to share here is using multiple channels to communicate. Whatever information that you want to convey to your students, these important informations should not be conveyed just through one single channel of communication. We should be using multiple channels for the same communication. For example, if I am to post an information only in an announcement area or only in a feedback area or send it only via email, there are chances that the student might reply back and say that they did not receive the message. So, why can't I include this information in all the three places at a time? What's stopping me from doing it? So, it's very important that we use multiple channels to the maximum when conveying information. The next point that I would like to emphasize on is whenever that we are using uh, an academic email, that email account should be synced to our personal phone. Now, you all will be questioning me, why should we do that? You can always access a computer or laptops to get onto this academic email. But it is very important doing this, as it will not only help you in reducing your likelihood of missing the messages, but it will also allow you to address the urgent questions that the students have posed in a very timely fashion. The students are often surprised by the fast responses that they receive. However, it is very important that we always clarify that to the students that we will be adhering or we will be addressing your concerns within 24-hour period on a regular basis, so that it does not create any undue confusion in your students' mind. The next point I would like to emphasize is on texting messages. If there are hundreds of students who have enrolled in our course, it is not possible for us to reach out to each and every student via phone calls or via emails, but texting is very easier to do. It's very hard for someone to miss or to ignore the text messages that you have sent in. Moreover, you will find that the student will appreciate the fact that you have text those messages and have quickly responded to their queries and their questions. Because I have seen my students who have thanked me numerous times for being accessible to them through this messaging app. While students do benefit from being able to text It is also important to let them know that you will be replying to their text messages within 24 hours. So your reply would be there. The next tip that I feel is to create a social media account. We all are there on some or the other social media in the current era, in the current scenario. Why not utilize the social media to motivate and share information with our students online? We can create an Instagram page just for students to include certain motivational quotes, memes, reminders, tips. There are many more things that you can include. You can even include a few of your personal photographs of your pets, of yourself, because students enjoy getting to know you as a professor, as an academician, as a person. The next thing I feel is to have a handy list of resources whenever that we are uh, giving out our feedback to our students. We should always compile a list of helpful resources to send to our students, because all students are not the same. There are some who are struggling in certain areas. For example, if a student submits a paper uh, that illustrates he or she does not know how to use commas, we don't just need to pinpoint this mistake that the student has done in the use of commas. But what we can do is we can refer to our list of resources and we can include that resource in our feedback. So just writing that you don't know how to utilize commas when you're writing a paper or a sentence or an answer, we can include a resource uh, book or a resource material in our feedback together with that, which can be very handy for the student to realize and improve on his mistakes. It can be a Word document, it can be bookmarks folder, or a desktop sticky note. These are very resource handy things that we can put it in our feedback. The next thing that I feel is using maximum of reflection questions. We need to get our students thinking more critically when they are writing the assignments by asking questions such as, in what ways would you do this different, if any? Did writing this paper change their, their views about the topic? What did they find most challenging about writing about this topic? What do they still want to know about this topic? What did they enjoy most about writing this paper? What did they discover about this topic that surprised them? These type of reflection questions really help us in getting to know their understanding level, their clarity of the topic, and also to let us know as to where we really need to work more for better understanding for the students. The next I feel is creating a forum. The LMS system that we are using, the learning management system that we are using, if it allows us to create a forum where all the students who are enrolled in our courses can go on to find useful information and ask questions on a subject, then we should go ahead and create those type of forums. There are Many students who would be struggling with the APA style of citing sources. So, what do we do in this case? We create a forum where we have uploaded this type of resources, and the students can very easily locate these resources on the subject and can ask related questions that they have. This really helps in getting or creating the feeling of community, getting close to your students which are there online. The next I feel is using welcome calls or welcome emails or welcome videos in our course, in the starting of our course. If we really have the time before the course is about to begin, we can also call up each student at the start of the course to say hello and to ask them as to why have they enrolled or what are the expectations from this online course that they have got enrolled themselves in. Let me tell you, most of the students will really appreciate this effort of yours, the time that you have taken to call them. If you don't get this amount of time to call, you can even send them private emails addressing each student by name and asking a direct question to start a brief dialogue. This is something really appreciated by the students. Next, I would like to promote more on the rubric grading system. Whenever that we are about to give out our assignments, our activities that we would like our students to get into in an online course, we should remind the students of the grading rubric for their week's assignment. And this has to be done in the announcements or through emails to make sure that they will be graded onto they will be graded on the topics that we have put up or the parameters that we have set off. So this will really eliminate the question from the students as to how long do we have to write the answers. It is not the evaluation of the length of the answers that will be done, but it is the evaluation of the pointers that you have fulfilled or the expectations that you have fulfilled while answering your assignments. So rubrics really helps in in uh, in getting the students answer the questions or performing the assignments to the point, and also in getting the course evaluator evaluate very smoothly. The next and the last point that I would like to talk about is reflect on our teaching. Whatever that we are teaching online, we should always ask ourselves, say on a weekly or a bi-weekly basis, as to what are the improvements that we would like to get in ourselves by the interactions that we have had with the students or by the type of assignments that they have submitted to us. What more can be done to make this subject more engaging and memorable? What we as instructors do find lacking in our classrooms? These type of reflection on our teaching really helps us working more uh, sincerely towards the course that we are designing. And let me tell you, we all have that in us to have to develop a great online course which can be very engaging for our students. So here we come to the end of this session, and hope this session would be would be helpful to you in understanding in depth about how one can create an environment in an online course and the skills a course instructor needs to possess in order to facilitate students in their learning process. I would appreciate if you can post in your comments and queries for the topic, and I wish you all the best for the short term course. Thank you. Bye.